Did you know that 85% of businesses that are listed for sale never sell? 85%. And there's a reason. The reason is they didn't plan for it. It's just that simple. So think about it. My grandson and we were going to bake a cake and I got to his house and he's like, "Can we make cupcakes?" And we like, "All right, let's go." And we look the um in the fridge. Are there eggs? Yep, we got eggs. Okay, cool. All right. Do we have flour? Yes. Do we have sugar? Yes. Do we have cocoa? What's that? All right, we find the cocoa. Do we have baking powder? Do we have the ingredients we need to make the cake? We figured it out. We made cupcakes. But how much easier would it have been if I knew we were going to make cupcakes from the start? So I made sure we had all the things instead of scrambling and adapting to what we had on hand. The same is true in your business. The reality is you built a business, it's probably conformed or molded around you and what you're willing to do and able to do and want to do. But the reality is it's probably, if you're like most of the business owners in this country, it's probably a job. It's probably a job that you created for yourself, right? You're self-employed. But that job does not equal a business. Here's a little test. Could you go on vacation for 6 weeks? What would happen to your business if you left for 6 weeks? And I don't mean prepping for 3 months so you could go for 6 weeks and then dealing with the fallout when you get back. I mean, if you left for 6 weeks, like let's just say you had a car accident and you're completely gone. What happens? Do paychecks get written? Can they even open your computer? Does the business grow or die? Does it stay the same? These are all things that make a business versus a job. And unless you have a business, you're never going to be sellable. See, the business has to be able to run without you. And I think we already know this in our heads. We just forget while we're doing it that that's the case. And so 85% of businesses don't sell because they never made a plan to sell. They never made a plan to transition from doing the thing, doing some of the thing, doing part of the thing, making sure all the things happen, to running without you. They are still in the business, they still a part of the business, and more often than not, they are still the engine that makes everything go. And that was true for me. In 2019, I was trying to sell all my businesses. I had four, two candy stores, two restaurants. And a broker that I tried to list with told me the hard truth. He's like, nobody wants this business, Tracy. Nobody wants any of these. You might as well just liquidate. And I was surprised. I was like, We have revenue. We have staff. What is the problem?" I was going on vacation quarterly, but the reality is that there was no way for me to transfer over that business without me going with it. It was not exitable. That means I couldn't exit it without it falling apart. I knew too many things. Number two, it wasn't transferable. I couldn't just put it in a box and hand it to somebody without it falling apart. And finally, that made it not sellable. And that's most of the businesses in this country. That's why 85% never sell. That's why you're probably seeing so many businesses for sale at ridiculous amounts of money with zero profit. It all comes back to having a plan. Pace has had us this last couple years talk about our Everest, figure out where the heck are we even going? What mountain are we building towards? What's our destination? Where are we going? Or are we just walking around wandering willy-nilly in the desert, right? For 40 years, promised land, right? Some biblical reference there. But this idea of where the heck are we even going? I'm going to ask you a question. As a business owner, you probably started with a plan. Maybe you got a loan, you had to have a business plan. Maybe you just started and bootstrapped like I did and just had an idea and you implemented the idea, right? You had an initial plan. How many of you have created a plan since? One that you followed? Very, very few. Okay. Because you've learned to live with it. It's like the frog in the pot that has learned to just be used to the boiling water. That is you as a business owner. And until something happens, and things happen, an accident, a divorce, a health scare, change of interest, grandbabies, um, the economy, AI, we don't think about what's coming or where we're going. We just are existing in. COVID was a big wake-up call for a lot of people. Their cash flow stopped. And what did they do with that? Some of them just stopped and waited. Some adapted and overcame. Some closed. Even with the extra money, some of them didn't have a plan of how to adapt. They never thought something like that would ever happen. And yet it did. And that's the reality of businesses. You go through life thinking that you have all this time and that you'll always be able to show up to work. But what if you don't? Do your employees get paid? Can they open your computer? These are things to think about. These are heavy things. They are big things, but they're all fixable things. And I'll just tell you my quick story is that I wanted to sell. The broker told me there was nothing worth selling. I decided to try to fix it because I'm smart, right? I own 4 businesses. How dumb could I be? Oh, except I missed the fact that I didn't have a plan for exit. And in those 3 months, it only took 3 months for me to shift things, my perspective and how I was approaching things and start delegating, eliminating, automating. And within 3 months, I had an offer for my business that I actually took. It doesn't take long, but you have to understand the bigger picture, which is you own a business, but it's not really a business, it's a job. And if you want that to ever change, you have got to have a plan. And that plan could be any different things, right? It could be, I just want more time. I want more money. I want more freedom, right? I want to expand. I want to scale. Those are all plans. But you should start with the end in mind. You should start with your destination in mind. And that's the problem with all of those businesses that didn't sell, is that they didn't have a plan to sell. So think about that. So if you are somebody who would like to buy a business, you're somebody who owns a business and would like to exit it some way, shape, or form, whether that's eliminating your responsibilities in the business, I call that being exitable, or making it transferable so that it's actually sellable, making it more valuable so you make more money when you sell. If any of those are your goals, this is the place for you, and this is where you start. We'll see you next time. I'm Tracy Gunn. Great talking to you. I can't wait to help you to become exitable.